No, I'll speak to the Attorney General about that.
It is time for total personnel warfare.
And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
Guys, how many of you know what's going on with your local sheriff's department, your local police force? How many of you know what investigations that they are doing right now? How many of you actually know your neighbors' names where you live? There's so much cry for outrage right now with Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino. And this was Kash Patel on the Sean Ryan show. And he said government creep and the intel apparatus. During the previous administration, we knew everything that was going on, right? How many of you want to telegraph everything that you plan to do against a competitor, maybe a business, maybe your enemy? How many of you don't even want your mother-in-law to know what the hell's going on? And I think some of the outrage is manufactured. It drives so many avenues. It damn sure makes for good articles and great videos when you just dogpile the guy sitting right here.
It is time for total personnel warfare. Do you understand that? Everybody has to go. Anyone in the justice system, a United States attorney, an AUSA, an assistant United States attorney, that's what we call them in the system, the intake AUSA, who decides, anyone who sniffed this case, touched this case, tweeted positively about this case, it is the president's full and final discretion to keep you hired in the DOJ. Pam Bondi, soon to be President Trump, soon to be Attorney General, everybody's got to go. It is time for, say it with me, folks, throw it in the chat right now, total personnel warfare.
Guys, we can't even get rid of criminal migrants out of our own country. Dan Bongino, if any of you think that he has flipped, if any of you think that he has changed his morality since assuming as the deputy FBI director, I think you need to rethink some of your prerogatives here. There's no way that this guy flipped. There is no way. But he brings up such valid, strong points that there needs to be a total clear out. But I want you to really think about what the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino are up against. They are up against a machine that is polished, that is well-oiled, that was put in place by the previous administration, probably going way back to when George W. Bush was the Vice President of the United States and former CIA director under Ronald Reagan. That's how long the deep state has been in place. And if you think during the first 110 days that everything's going to change, you are kidding yourself. But what are the odds of Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino all flipping at the same exact time? You have to be legitimately insane to believe that. Donald Trump came out yesterday and he was asked a question about the Jeffrey list. Listen to his answer. This tells me there's something bigger brewing. And you don't bring guys in like Dan Bongino that was making a $4.5 million with a Daily Show for him to take a major pay cut unless you're going to use them.
When can we expect the Epstein documents to be released? The rest of them?
Which documents?
The Epstein files?
I don't know. I'll speak to the Attorney General about that. I really don't know. I know that we've done the RFK, the Kennedy, Martin Luther King is out there very shortly, so we'll find out. But we've really announced we're doing them in full transparency. You know, when we did JFK, people were saying, "Oh, maybe it wasn't all; it was all." And people actually went up to the office and they looked at some things that were, not really easily available, and they were amazed that we gave it all. And I don't know if it solved any.
I think this is precisely timed. I think all of this is precisely timed. I think this is going to be used as an absolute Moab on the Democrat Party and the deep state. Donald Trump is not telegraphing his punches. I don't believe Kash Patel is telegraphing his punches. I think Pam Bondi is doing a somewhat job. I'd give her a B+ right now because of all the other mechanisms that were put in place by the previous administration. You all could never name one liberal judge 10 years ago. I know I couldn't. But now how many do we know? How many liberal judges do we know by name, face, and sight? All of them are working against the Department of Justice. They're working against the American people. I'll go back to my original question. How can we reform, rebuild, rip apart, expose the FBI, the deep state, the Department of Justice, when our own Supreme Court, when our own liberal judges will not let an American sitting president get rid of criminal gang-banging migrants? Think about it that way. I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I'm seeing the bigger picture. I know all of you want arrests now. You want your favorite Democrat perp walked immediately. You have to have watertight integrity within the Department of Justice. And I kind of appreciate Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi not allowing this information out. You saw what happened when Pete Hegseth just tried to prevent us from going to war with a precision strike. You saw the leakers get perp walked out, and then they run to the little talk shows and these anonymous, information sources with the New York Slimes, MSDNC, CNN. You see how this is working, right? We have to keep our cards close to our chests before we push all the chips in and we lay down 4 of a kind. Because right now, if we lay down 2 pair, 3 of a kind beats us. You lay down 3 of a kind, somebody's got a full house. We don't need that. I want the royal flush. And I believe the Trump administration is holding back for the right time to lay down those 5 cards. And the royal flush is dealt to the deep state. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe button, thumbs up on your way out the door. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? Are you getting a little too impatient? Or do we need to just continue to hold, and hold until we see the whites of their demonic eyes? Take care, guys.